lust is the gateway for every sin. I think let's just go off that presupposition to start this. And so I think when we see something, if we're getting into the realm of sexual sin now, which we'll do, this is why the pornography issue is such a big one. So, I want to have a very real conversation about this, and this is going to drive a lot of the narrative going forward. So if you're uncomfortable, got kids in the car, whatever, turn this off. Although if you're uncomfortable just by yourself, please listen to this because you probably need to hear it. I know I needed to hear it a long time ago. So I want to have a very real conversation about what porn actually is. Because to be honest, I've really had enough of people saying that porn is just like quote unquote bad. Like, oh, it's a bad thing. You shouldn't do that thing. It's not good for you. We need more teeth in this conversation than that. We need to swing harder at this thing than that. And what I'll do is I'll take that swing now. Porn is not a bad thing. Porn is an evil thing. Porn is evil. Porn is a demonic thing. It's from the pit of hell. I have no problem saying that because it's true, I think. I don't think this is an over-exaggeration at all. Because what it does is that it capitalizes on that original sin. If you're taking that argument that Dr. Peterson proposed, that it capitalizes on the original sin of lust to become a monster of sin to overcome, particularly for men in relation to women. So it takes the most sacred thing, the only thing that God mirrors his covenant to us, the church, in marriage, in a sexually pure relationship, and it destroys it. It destroys a holy thing. And there's no bigger driver of that vice, in my estimation, than pornography. It's far bigger than infidelity. People think that infidelity is just a person in a committed marriage cheating on someone that they're not in a committed marriage with. Infidelity goes far deeper than that. And porn has helped that. Because you're looking at pictures, you're watching videos. People say, oh, I'm not cheating on my wife for watching porn. Oh, like we watch porn together, etc. All those things. Again, that's cope. If you're having to convince yourself that that is not a sinful activity, you should look at yourself first. Let's put it that way. So why does this happen? So it happens because porn, there's been a lot of books written on this. There's research that's coming out left and right on this. Layla McElwaite has done a lot of good things on this. She's amazing. If you haven't seen, she has an interview with Theo Vaughn right now that's out. That's incredible. So go ahead and watch it. It hijacks the brain and destroys men's perception of sex and of women, which usually is the one thing that men need outside of their own purpose to provide sustained meaning in their life as they mature and as they age. I'd never do stand-up comedy, but if I ever did stand-up comedy, one of my jokes is going to be that literally everything, particularly young men, everything that men do, that young men do especially, is to in some way impress a woman. Get in better shape, impressing a girl. Making more money, impressing a girl. Starting a company, impressing a girl. Doing all this, drinking, whatever, trying to impress a girl badly in that scenario. But it takes that motivation for young men and it hijacks it and it destroys it. And it ruins their perception of sex. It ruins their perception of women, which therefore, if left unchecked, will nuke any possibility of a healthy sexual relationship with a woman ever in their life. And let me just tell you, if that is corrupted, and it is corrupted for millions, tens of millions of men in marriages, outside of marriage, young, old, etc. It is a wasteland of sexual purity on behalf of men in America and in the world more broadly, for sure. So if that is corrupted, if the perception of men or by men of women and of sex is corrupt, and of marriage, to be frank, because that's what this is, if that is corrupted, men lose a great portion, a big portion of their purpose and their desire to do anything, because if nothing is motivating you, and for all my women that might be listening to this out there is nothing more motivating to us than you, by the way, and I believe that men should pursue God first, women should pursue God first, and then pursue each other after they're done pursuing God. But if you are so motivating to men, you guys do not recognize how motivating women are to men. Like, you do not realize it at all. Like, it is much deeper than you think. It is the deepest impulse I believe that men might have inside of their lives. So to maybe show some light on some of these men here, if that is corrupted, men lose a lot. They lose a lot. And they lose a desire to do anything, because if you take my perception, my joke at face value, If they believe, which is what a lot of young men believe, unfortunately, that like no woman could love them outside of a television screen or a phone or a computer or a laptop or wherever they watch their pornography on, then what's the point of starting a company or getting your finances right or getting in shape or doing anything? Like it dulls the ambition of men. It just, it destroys it. It wipes it out. And that pursuit of women, a big portion of why men are not pursuing women now is they can pull up any woman they want ever on their phone. And now with AI, this is going to be a lot worse, because think about all the options of women that are out there now. And when men are able to customize with AI girlfriends, I believe they just did the first AI marriage in Japan. I need to have my non-existent staff fact check that for me. But when AI visual, what is that? AR, VR porn is mainstreamed, and everyone has an Oculus with the woman of their dreams. They fabricated, they didn't have to do anything to pursue, comes out. It's over. Like, I genuinely believe it's over if that is allowed to become mainstream, and that's incentivized by all of the tech companies and all of the credit card companies, like everyone that's behind this, like, and obviously that's true. And for my guys out there, and my women, to be honest, but to my men out there, you should always pursue what God wants you to do first. You should pursue Christ first. If you're a Christian man watching this, you should not pursue women over God. You should pursue God over women, and then women come underneath. I'm a firm believer in marriage and all that sort of thing, and I'm not like one of these Christian pill guys that say like, oh, don't date, don't do this. It's like, no, don't do that. But make sure you're pursuing God first. But he has called men to be husbands and fathers, which is what he called Adam to be in part, and a big portion of that before the fall. So he has called you to be a husband, a dad, all those things, a leader of a family more broadly, which is something that pornography obviously and apparently discourages like all get out. They don't want men to become husbands. They don't want men to become fathers. They do not want men to lead. They want men cocked. They want men weak. They want men dependent on them. So if it's so destructive, then why don't people just stop? Why don't the men that are, doing all this stuff just stop? And this is another hot take, but I don't think it's a hot take, actually. People think it's a hot take. I don't think it's a hot take. But my contention as to why people just don't stop watching porn, because they're like, oh, like, just stop, just date a girl, whatever. And that's a whole different discussion. But my contention is that porn is an addiction. Porn is an addictive substance. It's no different than drugs, no different than alcohol, no different than sex. Sex addiction is the thing. So there's much debate on this topic, and like, oh, porn is porn a drug? Is porn not a drug, etc. But I think there shouldn't be much debate on this, to be honest. And so, like, for me personally, I got in real deep with porn for a very long time. Really, really, really deep. I was watching some very, very demonic, dark stuff for a very, very long time. And it's just, it was horrible. It was really, really awful. It permanently, I'll tell you this, it permanently altered my brain. I'm never going to recover from the things that I've seen. Never, 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 never. And a lot of these men are not going to be recovered from the things that they see if they go down the far the rabbit hole as I have. And some people have gone way further than I have. When you talk about black market pornography, dark web stuff, all that sort of thing. I know people have told me personally, lots of men, unfortunately, have told me personally all the things that they've watched. And I'm like, the one thing I say is that I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And I mean it, by the way. Like, I mean it. So the way I want to articulate this is like drugs. So if we're saying porn is a drug, let's compare it to drugs. So most people, if you don't know, don't die of overdoses because they use too much of a drug. Too much of a certain drug. Like when Tony Montana and Scarface buries his head in that pile of cocaine, he didn't overdose. But the reason why people overdose is they get hooked because the potency of a sample size is so strong that it overwhelms their system. This is why fentanyl is so dangerous. This is why fentanyl is killing the leading killer of Americans. It's killed more Americans than it has in the entire global war on terror, which is terrifying. I think maybe all our wars combined. I'd have to look that up, but like it's killing 100,000 people a year, especially young people. And the reason why it's killing young people, those who are not as exposed to the system, and it's killing less drug addicts, is because young people generally and hopefully don't have many exposure to hard drugs. And so when they get exposure to a hard drug, it wipes them out because it overwhelms their system. Their body can't take it and they just shut down. And their body shuts down and they overdose, unfortunately. So this is exactly how men in pornography addiction feel. And this is why so many of them struggle. And this is why so many of them stay stuck. They feel so overwhelmed by the monster of pornography, by the stuff that they watch, how much they watch it. Like I've heard stories of people watching porn 20 times a day. Like it's bad. Like for the women out there that don't know how deeply this runs for men in some cases, it's bad. It's very bad. It's very bad. It's really, really awful. And they just feel like they're drowning. And you know what porn does is that, and what all addiction does really, it isolates people. It isolates men especially, and it really, and because sex is such an intimate thing and such a personal thing, and so like, you know, just we have so many cultural taboos on it and things that we should do or not do, etc. What it does is that it reminds them just how bad they believe themselves to be. That's what really hurts me about when I hear men struggling with pornography, is that it reminds them that it affirms every belief that they have in the moment they're watching it, which namely is that you're a bad person and you suck and you're low on the totem pole. No one's going to ever love you. No woman's going to ever love you. You're going to have to do this for the rest of your life. This is the only way you're going to get consistent pleasure, the only way you're going to experience something close to love, all that sort of thing. And that's why I believe it's demonic, as all addiction is. It's not from God. It's not from God. It comes from a very, very, very dark place, a much darker place than a lot of people think, which is why I believe so many men stay stuck in it.